Okay, and we're going to start. Actually, it's gonna go like this. Okay, so today, welcome everybody, and I'm so happy that you can join us today. Today we're going to talk about laughter. And a lot of psychologists and philosophers were trying to explain, to understand the nature of laughter. Laughter is one of those human phenomena, the most basic, most familiar one, something that we do every day, even hopefully several times every day. Nonetheless, it is very difficult to explain what makes us laugh. What um, need does it serve? Does it meet? And what are the short and long-term effects of laughter? So let's take a look at that for a second.
There's no sound.
Sorry about that. So, um, why am I having this difficulty though? Sorry about that. I'm trying to move to the next. Ah, okay, here we go. Okay. Neuropsychologist Robert Provine examined for many years laughter among people and also among animals, and claimed that the basic, the most basic condition to laugh or to have laughter is not a successful or a good joke, but rather the presence of another human being. So he claims that laughter is a basically a social, something social that we do. Okay. And when you, and studies show actually that when you share a joke with an audience, it's going to have more laughter than if you share it with one person. Okay. Um, And I kind of gonna summarize the basics of what he came up with. It just passed away in 2019. He was a professor at the University of Maryland, and he studied the development and evolution of nervous system, author of several books, and the basic what he says is the following: laughter depends on audience. Laughter is a social action or something social that we do. You will laugh only if someone else tickles you, meaning if you're going to tickle yourself and you examine that, you're not going to laugh. Okay, that proves the fact that it has to do with an audience, with somebody else. It's some sort of a social thing. It's an interaction. The person who tickles you, that matters, because the relationship, the nature of the relationship, the intensity of the relationship that you have with that other person is a factor that's going to contribute to how much you're going to laugh, etc. Laughter is an early expression of social interaction, and the intensity of laughter correlates to the quality or the nature of the relationship. Okay? So basically what he says, that laughter is a social interaction that is intensified with that is intensified when the level of intimacy is greater. Okay? Then on the basis of his research, and I'm going to take it to let him speak for himself. McGraw and Warren further studied that idea of human laughter, and they came up with the benign violation hypothesis. And I'm going to let Warren speak about that. And here we go.
We can't hear.
Yeah, there's no audio.
Okay. Is there a problem with
Yeah, there's
hearing the
no audio
video?
on the video.
There's no
Right.
audio on the video?
No,
Some have, some don't.
I don't either.
Okay, if you don't, I think it has to do with your
I don't either.
setting.
I don't have the audio.
I don't
I
either.
don't either.
You should ask who has it. I don't know if anyone has it.
I don't have it either.
Oh, okay, hold on. Let me see if I can do something about that. Weird. What about the previous video? You had
Yes.
also?
Yes, yes.
Yes, you had? Okay. Okay, let's try again. And if you don't have it, let me know. Yes, no?
No.
No. No.
No.
That is so weird.
No.
No.
Um, let me try something else. This is happening. Give me a second. I'm trying to find it in a different place.
We might be able to see it later on YouTube. I did that last time was your previous one that we also couldn't hear.
I understand. I'm gonna try one more thing here. Hold on. I'm going to do this. Okay. How about now?
No,
No?
no, no.
Okay.
I hear something. Something.
Yeah, you hear music.
Yeah, something is coming.
Yeah.
Not to me.
Let it play a little bit more. No, I don't hear the sound.
No, no
No.
sound. No,
Okay.
too bad.
Here's what we're going to do. We're going to try the following. I'm going to try this. Okay. Putting this in the chat. See if you can click on that and see if that works for each one of you.
Click on what?
On the chat.
How do
Just
you
send a
do
link.
that?
I don't know how to find the
I
chat.
don't either.
You click
Oh,
on
YouTube?
you click on the bottom
Yeah.
where it says chat.
Click the name on YouTube when
You click on chat at the bottom.
find it. That's what I did last
I don't have chat. Just
I
a
don't
minute.
either. I have YouTube.
Here, I got chat.
If you have it at the bottom or along the top of your screen, there should be a panel with a menu, and one of them is
Okay,
chat.
I got to chat.
Yeah, in the chat, I just sent a link.
Yeah,
And you click on the link.
Yeah. I
Okay,
put
click on the link.
chat.
yeah,
I don't know.
yeah, it's
Yeah,
playing.
Just a minute.
But then we should mute ourselves so that it doesn't play in the background of everybody.
Oh,
The sound is too low.
yeah. Oh,
What did I do?
no.
Okay. I'll send it to you later, Maxine.
Okay.
I hear it too low.
You need to bring up the volume.
I try. I heard you okay. Uh, I want the machine to be off.
Yeah, everything went wrong here. Oh, God.
Turn the water off. I got completely lost. Okay, it's good.
Okay, so everybody's done watching that video. Yes, no?
I couldn't hear it.
No, I understand. Okay. I'm gonna,
I'm going to ask you to stand up, turn to someone you don't know,
Oh,
and begin tickling that person.
now I hear.
Now we hear.
Where is the screen?
it's actually by you.
No more.
Although some of you may find this request slightly terrifying,
Okay, now I hear.
many of you are clearly amused.
Me too.
If this is funny, it begs the question, what makes things funny? And answering that question is important for a few reasons. Humor is pervasive. People of all ages and cultures experience humor on a daily basis.
Okay, we're gonna
Humor influences your choices, from the movies and television you watch to the people you date and mate.
this is coming from somebody,
Humor,
not from me.
that's true.
There we go. So I'm going to give you the opportunity to watch that video later. And I'm going to continue with what we want to say. Okay? Okay. So both theories trying to explain this phenomena of laughter. And both the one that highlights the social element, you know, that's the first one that
To a lucky member of the congregation.
Excuse me, can you stop the person
But
talking?
instead of groans,
trying. I
got
don't know
laughed.
who's
and an astute
That's
member of the audience
Susan.
raised her hand. She said, Pete, you said that moral violations cause disgust. And
yeah,
yet
I don't
we
know
laugh."
who that
Sound is
is.
going
What?
on.
I wanted to answer the question of
The
what
sound
makes
is
things
still
funny.
on by this.
I understand, Susan. I hear it
thank
too,
you.
but I don't know.
Maybe White
It comes
says,
from
you
somebody.
know,
I don't know who.
humor is like dissecting a frog.
Just have everybody mute
We're
themselves.
interested,
That's what I'm trying.
frog
But
died.
No, but people can mute themselves, like,
right. Okay. Okay. So both theories we said highlight this phenomenon of laughter, but both the Previn one that talks about the social element and the one with by McGraw and Warren talks about a violation of conditions that enable the laughter, but both theories are actually connected to each other. And this laughter that is rolling out requires from us this ability to let go, to enable our primal instinct, or the primal instinct, which is part of what laughter is, to do its thing. Letting go in laughter enables that breaking of those boundaries or violation of those rules that Warren McGraw talked about. And this letting go also depends to very much extent how much the person interprets the situation, the social situation, as a good one, as a safe one. And the more we feel, the more we feel safe in a situation, I'm going to let myself to let go. And therefore, it's so important. How do I know that person? And what is the nature of my relationship with that person? And that is going to impact the magnitude or the way I'm going to laugh. Okay, good. Have that in mind. Let's go into the Torah itself. Now, last time I mentioned this idea that the names in the Torah have meaning. Not only that I have meaning, but I have meaning also towards the future. So many time parents that actually about to name their child, they see a certain time in history or a person from the past as an, it's an opportunity to memorialize a person or a situation or something. Okay, but as we saw in the Torah, it's a little bit different. In the Torah, the names have meaning, very deep meaning, not only about something that happened in the past, but in defining the nature of the person, like the baby, by hint, and with the expectation, the hope of what's going to happen in the future. Okay, so let's take a look. For example, Chava, Eve. The pasuk says, "Ki hi hayta em kol chai," because she had to become the mother of all living. Right? Em kol chai, Chava. Right? That defines her function. So Adam named her that way because he also highlights the difference between him and her. She is able to give birth. He is unable to do so. She's the mother of all living, right? Then when she gives birth to her first child, right? She said, "Vateled et Cain, vatomer kaniti ish et Adonai." She conceived and bore Cain, saying, "I have acquired a man with God." Also here, up until now, every living creature in the world was created by God. This is the first time in which we have partnership between man and God in bringing new life into the world. And she calls him Cain, and it's a novelty because she kanta, she acquired him, meaning Cain, together with God. Okay, the next character in the Bible is Noah, the person who is going to save humankind is Noah. Vayikra et shmo, I mean the third one, Noach lemor, ze yenachamenu mima'asenu mitzvon yadeinu min ha'adama asher erara Adonai. right? His name is given to him as a sign for the future, right? Ze yenachamenu, in the future tense. This will bring us rest from our work and from the toil of our hands. And when he is born, of course, it represents the name. The name represents the essence and the role of that baby. This is the Noah that's going to continue humankind, and Noah fulfill his destiny in consoling mankind. Right? Same goes. I'm in the fourth one about Ishmael. Right? Hagar is commanded by the angel to call her son Yishmael in the future tense. Yishmael, God will hear, even though it's based on something that happened in the past. So it's not about, documenting or memorializing that moment in which God heard the cry of Hagar. Not that is the main thing, but rather it's the hope that in the future, God will continue to hear her cry. Okay, later on, when they're going to be banished by Sarah from Abraham's house and they're going to go into the desert, etc., that prophecy is going to be fulfilled when God is going to hear their cry and save them. Same goes for Jacob and Esau. Right? So Jacob, we spoke about that last time, is holding on the heel of Esau, but he's not called Akev in the past tense, but rather Yaakov in the future tense. Right? And indeed, as we saw last week, Yaakov is going to follow Yaakov after his brother and compete with him throughout their lives. Same goes for Moses. I mean, the last one here in the bottom, right? This is, so the daughter of Paro called him Moshe, but in the active form, not in the passive way of the verb, which would be mashui, but rather as kind of a hinting, giving a hint of what he is going to be in the future. He is going to limshot. He's going to be the one who is going to take out, which is limshot, to take out, meaning to Bnei Israel, the Jewish people, out of Mitzrayim. Okay, so this is kind of what we said also last time. So it has all that meaning. Why am I bringing this? I'm bringing this because Yitzchak, his name was given by God himself. And therefore, it's very important for us to understand what's the meaning of that name. We would have thought that the name of Abraham, the name of the son of Abraham, the heir, so to say, to the covenant, is going to have something to do with a vision, with a promise that were given to Abraham, right? Because Abraham, his name was changed from Avram to Abraham, and God says, why? Av Hamon Goyim, father of many nations. So we would have think that something that has to do with that vision, with that promise, with the beginning of monotheism, something is going to be about the name of the person who's supposed to continue that. But it's actually the opposite. Something that seems like not as important. It's laughter. Yitzchak, from the sholish, from the root of tzachak, laughter, to laugh. And not only that, and it's in the future tense. It's kind of like hinting us about what Isaac, Yitzchak, is going to laugh about. Interesting. Let's go to the story. We spoke about that many times in the past, but and by the way, it's a laughter, so I decided to kind of look at cartoons this time in terms of the art. Abram and Sarah both react by laughing when they hear the promise that they're going to have a son when they're so old. And even though both are reacting in what it seems like the same way, there's a huge, very important difference between the laughter of Sarah and the laughter of Abraham. When it comes to Abraham, the Torah tells us, you can read the English here on the left, I'm going to read the Hebrew. ויפול אברהם על פניו ויצחק, ויאמר בליבו, לבן 100 שנה ייוולד, ועם שרה הבת 90 שנה תלד, ויאמר אלוהים, אבל שרה אשתך יולדת לך בן, וקראת את שמו יצחק. Okay? And I put those words in red, laughed, and Isaac, which is in Hebrew, will laugh. What about Sarah? Torah says what the following, ותצחק שרה בקרבה לאמור, אחרי בלותי הייתה לי עדנה ואדוני זקן, ויאמר אדוני אל אברהם, למה זה צחקה שרה לאמור, העוף אמנם אלד ואני זקנתי? ותחכה שרה לאמור, לא צחקתי כי ירע, ויאמר לא כי צחקתי. You can take a look at the English. But it seems that what Abraham and Sarah do is very similar. They both kind of doubt the possibility of them becoming parents in such old age. But in spite of this similarity, it's very clear that there's no criticism about the laughter, about the reaction of Abraham, unlike Isaac. More so, that command to call the son Isaac, Yitzchak, seems like reaffirmation of that laughter by Abraham. But what about Sarah? Sarah is being kind of rebuked for laughing. And the question is, Lama ze tzachaka Sarah? Why did Sarah laugh? It says the Torah. It's not, I'm trying to understand why she laughed. It's more than that. It's an accusation. Because the word lama, why, in the Torah, it's not a really question, but rather it's a word of rebuke. We can talk about that in a different time. I can give you 100 examples. When you want to learn, when you want to find information, and therefore you ask why, in the Torah, the word is not lama. The word is going to be madua. So lama is why kind of a rhetoric question. It's part of nu. It's musar, it's rebuke, okay? Have that in mind. Not only that, Sarah answers back and she denies her laughter. But God says, you did. And he criticized her, right? So even though the root tzachak, laugh, we find it in both when it comes to Abraham and Sarah. Onkelos, the Aramaic translation, translate them in a different way. About Abraham, he says vechadi, which is to be happy, glad. What about Sarah? Vechayachet, meaning to laugh. Happy, laughter. Same word in Hebrew, but Onkelos makes a distinction between them and uses different words in Aramaic. And Rashi picks up on that. I'm going to read the Hebrew here in the blue about Rashi, but I have the English here as well. So he says, Zed tirgem onkelus leshon simcha, vechadi v'shel Sarah leshon machoch. How come the difference between the translation when it comes to the same word in Hebrew, onkelus decides to translate one as vechadi, i.e. simcha, and the other one is from machoch, like chiyuch, smile, laughter. Lamadet she'Avraham he'emin v'samach. That he learned, he understand that Abraham had faith and rejoiced, like happy as being rejoiced. V'Sarah lo he'emina v'liglega. But Sarah had no faith, and they translate here, and sneered. Okay? And that is why God was angry with Sarah when she left, but was not angry with Abraham. What Rashi says basically, that the laughter, the happiness that was exhibited by Abraham was something positive. What Sarah did was negative. Let's take a deeper look in what happened there. We actually take a look at the text again about Sarah. It says, "Vatitzchak Sarah bekirba lemor." How to translate it? And Sarah laughed to herself. Herself. What does it mean? It means that Sarah did not laugh at all. Unlike Abraham, where it says Vayitzchak, when it comes to Sarah, it's a bekirba, Vayitzchak Sarah bekirba, to herself. She doesn't enable that laughter to roll out. She stops it. She doesn't let it out. It's not audible. And when she denies and she said, Lo tzachakti, I didn't laugh, she's telling the truth. She's not lying. Because in her interpretation, laughing inside, to yourself, in your heart, in your mind, is not laughter. She sees laughter as something that is degrading. And therefore she's, at least under these circumstances, and therefore she tries to hide it, to deny it, even when the one who's confronting her is God himself. And we can see how she feels about this idea of tzachak, of laughter, as we loosely translate it, later on in the same parsha. Okay, look at the bottom here. After the birth of Isaac, Vatomer Sarah, tzachok asa li Elohim. God has brought me laughter. It's not exactly, I'm not happy with that translation. It's more like tzachok asa li Elohim. God has made me, or made of me, a laughter. That's a better translation, whatever that means. Kol hashomea yitzchak li. Everyone who hears will laugh, not with me, but it's at me. I know it says with me, but this time I have to disagree with the English translation here. Vateres Sarah, and then later on, a couple of psukim later, Vateres Sarah et ben Hagar ha-Mitzrit asher yalda laAvraham metzachek. Right, they have this big party for Yitzchak, and she sees her adopted son, Ishmael, metzachek. Right? Playing, mocking. This is the way they translate it here. It's not exactly clear what is it, but it's something bad. ותאמר לאברהם גרש האמה הזאת ואת בנה כי לא יירש בן האמה הזאת את בני יצחק, and she tells Abraham, I want them out of here. So Sarah held it in, and she laughed inside only. And then she's bothered from the fact that people are going to laugh at her. And her only reaction is not a reaction of joy like Abraham or excitement, but rather she's concerned about what people are gonna talk about, how people are gonna talk about me. They're gonna mock me. They're gonna mock me. They're gonna laugh at me. And it seems that this is how we can understand also what she sees or why she says whatever she says about Ishmael. To that extent, she demands to kick them out. That root metzachek, it's not in the form of PL, which means cause somebody, but I'm sorry, it's in a PL, meaning to cause somebody else or to make somebody into something. It's like, so in that case, with that particular paw, it means making someone into a laughter, making fun of somebody. Okay, that's what she says. So Sarah says she doesn't want to be laughed at. And 2 verses later, she sees Ishmael metzachek. So Ishmael sees Sarah, who gives birth when she's old, and he's making fun of her. He's mocking her. And that was exactly what she was afraid of. Right? It's important, by the way, to see that the Torah is not talking about, those psukim are not from the point of view of the narrator, but rather it's from the point of view of Sarah. She sees him do that. She sees him, Ishmael, making fun of her, and therefore he's banished from her home. Moving on. That Paul, that root, metzachek, tzachak, is directly connected to 3 figures in the book of Genesis. Ishmael, Yitzchak, and Joseph. As we said, that particular word in that form, meaning PL, in the active way, that means laughing at or of somebody. We already spoke about Ishmael. What about Isaac? If you remember, I'm looking here at the top quote. I'm going to read the Hebrew. You can look at the English. Isaac is fondling or jesting with his wife Rebecca. It's not really clear what exactly it means, metzachek here. Okay? But what is very, very clear is that has to do with intimacy. Because based on what they were doing, okay, the picture here suggests something, some sort of intimacy. But whatever that is, based on that, we know that Avimelech, the king of Gerar, knows that they are husband and wife. This is a behavior that is acceptable or describable for a husband and wife, and not siblings as they presented themselves. Okay, because they told Abimelech that they are siblings. But from whatever they were doing as metzachek, it was clear that they are not. By the way, also this really interesting combination, Yitzchak metzachek, right? That's exactly Yitzchak fulfilling his destiny. He was named as Yitzchak because he's supposed to be metzachek at some point in the future. This is it. This is that time. And he was caught when he was metzachek with his wife. So he fulfills his destiny. This is something, tzchok, laughter, a type of laughter between husband and wife, that is something that is desirable, something is expected. And that's exactly the opposite of that story of Joseph and Potiphar's wife. Look at the translation here in the bottom. Right? She tries to seduce him and he runs out. And she calls everybody and she said the following, look, meaning her husband, he had to bring us a Hebrew dally, sport, Hebrew to dally or sport with us. I'll be honest, I don't know exactly what it means. But letzachek banu, to make fun of us. This man came to lie with me, but I screamed loud. Then she told him the same story, saying, the Hebrew slave whom you brought into our house came to me to dally or sport with me. Same idea, letzachek bi. So just like Isaac's story, here that word letzachek comes again in the context of some sort of something sexual. But unlike the case of Isaac, which shows intimacy and closeness, the one that Potiphar's wife is talking about, obviously that's not true, but she's the type of what she's describing is something that is harmful, something that is offensive, right? He's here to make fun of us, right? In Potiphar's wife's story, Joseph is accused as somebody who is metzachek, who is whatever that means, making fun of her against her will. Isaac's metzachek is between a man and his wife. The one attributed, the tzchok that attributed to Joseph is the one that defines the relationship between a rapist and a victim, right? That's what she says. Against my will. He came to attack me. So the theory of Provine claims that the source of laughter is social interaction, right? So a person, the one who laughs, needs to understand that there's audience, and the audience is not me. And the relation, the connection between me and that other person or people enabled to intensify or weaken or whatever, determine the magnitude, the form of that laughter, right? That's what we said. Okay. So looking at that laugh in the book of Genesis shows not only the attitude, the different attitudes to laughter as a human reaction, but also an outlook on the nature of the relationship between people. So let's go back for a second. Sarah refuses to laugh. She's afraid of others laughing at her. That interaction with the others, she experienced that as threatening, as harmful. She refuses to let go, right? To violate the rule, the benign, right? To violate whatever is holding her in order to be able for the laughter to roll out. And not only that, she punishes, Ishmael in parentheses, she punishes those who laugh at her. Ishmael laughs at her. He mocks her. Interaction for him is a source for disrespect, for insult. And for that, he's going to pay. Joseph is accused for harming Potiphar's wife by being mitzachek with her. Here, the interaction with the other is an interaction of taking advantage of objectifying. It's violent, it's destructive. Isaac's laughter is something that is desirable, something that we want. He is metzachek et Rivka. So here, the interaction with the other is something of partnership, mutuality. So Sarah sees the interaction with the other as a threat, and therefore she doesn't laugh. While Abraham, going back to our question, what's the difference between Abraham and Sarah's? While Abraham is not afraid of the others. Abraham's confidence comes from the fact that he's able to laugh. He has like a real deep laugh. He's happy. He actually laughed at himself. He laughed with himself about himself. Go back to the Proven's theory. We said that the presence of another person is necessary in order to laugh. So Abraham laughing while after listening to God, that means that Abraham can see himself through the eyes of others. He's able to remove himself from that narrow point of view of Sarah. He look at himself from the outside, and such an outlook enabled somebody, even during difficult time, somebody like Abraham, to laugh. So McGraw-Warren taught us that every laughter has to do with violation, with, I guess, losing control to some extent, right? Breaking boundaries. The violent one, the form of violent one, is the one that is in which Joseph is accused, and he breaks the law, really breaks the boundaries and the respect between people, right? Because that's violence. The one, even though he was innocent, he didn't do that. The one that of Isaac and Rebekah is the one of losing control because of passion and love. The one of Ishmael and Sarah, and actually Abraham, they all has to do with breaking the rules of nature, giving birth by somebody who's 90. That's the laws of nature. Now, but here's the difference. Abraham recognized that possibility of overcoming those barriers, but Sarah rejects it. And Ishmael sees it happening and mocks it. And the ability to laugh is something that is very, very Jewish. The laughter of Abraham is a prototype for a very deep belief in God. You see, by doing that, by letting go, a person that believes in God recognizes not everything is in your hands. And that person accepts with love the fact that rules may change. Yes, even 100-year-old man could have a child. All those rules, nature, whatever that is, could be could be broken by God. There is no certainty. And there's always a different possibility. So somebody who laughs is somebody that knows how to let go, give up control, knows to doubt reality, and is able to make a choice in a free way. But this ability to let go and to doubt is characteristic of laughter must not ever be pointed at others. Because that's the story of Joseph. That's the story of Ishmael. The greatness of Abraham was the fact that he channeled all that towards himself, about himself. Right? Unlike Ishmael and Joseph, who are laughing at others. And unlike Sarah, who is not even capable to laugh. Abraham does it towards himself. Brings us to a story that we spoke also about at in the past. It's the story of David bringing the ark to Jerusalem, and he is laughing, he's dancing, he doesn't care about the way he looks and what he does, and and he's so happy and ecstatic. And Michal, his wife, that sees him get into this, she confronts him, and they have a fight. At the end, I'm just going to make a long story short. The text says that she didn't have children, and because of that juxtaposition, that to that particular event, I'm going to make an assumption here. So David, you can look at the English if you need to refresh your memory about that incident. David is dancing, he's singing, even though he's the king, he doesn't see that as something that is not appropriate for his class or whatever, and he's willing to let go, to break the rules, what is expected from a king, etc. Unlike Sarah, he's not afraid of how people are going to look at him. He's not afraid that people are gonna see him and maybe he's clumsy and whatever. And unlike Ishmael and Joseph, he's not targeting his laughter and whatever does at others, but rather at himself. He says, "V'sichakti lifnei Adonai." It's me. It's me and God. He gives up control. And he enables the laughter and all that, whatever that means, to roll out. But unlike Isaac and Rebecca, they have the opportunity to laugh, whatever that means, together, David and Michal and his wife, they don't have that. Michal doesn't share the same view as David, and she despises him. And I want to share with you I have to apologize. You can look at that quickly. This is not a great translation. This is Google Translate, so it has a lot of mistakes. This is a poet by poet named Rivka Miriam, an Israeli poet. I've been in touch with her actually. I was trying to get an English translation for that poem, but was not able to. She said it was not translated, and I didn't have a chance to start translating it. So this is the work of Google Translate. And basically she says here that Sarah was barren because she didn't know how to laugh. And she was just following Abraham. And because Abraham was following God, and God is unable to, God doesn't have laughter because it has to do with breaking the boundaries. So Abraham was not able to. But at some point, they move the masks from their faces. And it's part of something that perhaps let them be a little bit less intense, to let go. And perhaps that was necessary, what she says, in order to bring a child into this world. And that child obviously is Isaac. And then she says that many years later, Michal, the wife of Shaul, she also doesn't know how to laugh. And she despised him. And she never had a child. Basically, I think what she's trying to say is something similar to what we said, that in order to create that intimacy, especially between a man and a wife, you need laughter is something that is needed. It's not laughter, it's laughter, it could be joy, it could be happiness, it could be a certain mindset. I want to share with you a last video. Hopefully that's going to work. Okay, so
Am I
apparently
supposed
there's
to
no
hear sound?
there's no
There's no
no
audio.
sound on this one as well. Okay, basically this video, I don't know what's the problem, but I'll have to investigate all those technical problems. But this video tells us that
Could
it's
you
also
put a
healthy.
link to that in the chat as well?
Yeah, I
I
will.
can look at
I
it
will.
later.
I will.
Okay.
I will. Apparently, that it says that it's also makes you healthy to laugh, and the health benefits of that. So, okay, this is it for today. Let me